Alright. Try this again. Maybe we're going to get somewhere this time. See what we can do here. Maybe. According to one, we're live. According to the other, we're not. We'll see. Kind of, according to one, it looks like I'm going and got a live chat room. Let's see. Well, maybe there we go. Maybe we're actually on now. We'll see. It looks like it on one page. Doesn't quite look it on the other, but we'll keep going, I guess. There we go. We got her. So we are actually running. And there we go. All right. Happy Friday, guys. Welcome to the channel. High Desert Music Channel. It's Friday night. This is going to be a standard show for us on Friday nights. Tonight, what did I get done this week? Not very much. It was a somewhat disappointing week in terms, at lots of areas. Didn't get nearly the kind of practice time that I wanted to get this week. So, it goes that way sometimes. I played not nearly enough. It was not the greatest of weeks. It seems like it's ended up a lot better. Got some changes coming to the channel, sort of. I've picked up a couple of things to kind of put in the background, maybe jazz up the set design a little bit, because I'm pretty sure the blank wall behind me is not all that fantastic. So we'll look into that and get that up. Maybe next week. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes to get here. Anyway, maybe a little set design changing going on, kind of juice things up, for all of my viewers. Hi, Mom. How are you? Anyhow, didn't quite practice as much as I wanted. And it, is what it is. That's kind of how it goes sometimes. Doesn't always work out the way you want. Well, such is the world. So I'm going to kind of stick to basically the same plan I had last week in terms of practice. Try to get in some chord work. And I'm going to try to do some more improv type of work, kind of play over some things. I did for all of those of you who have asked and brought it up, and all of you who have thought it and not said it. I'm working on the music, something to play in the background of some of these covers. I'm going to try to get some more guitar covers that are a whole lot easier to pick out. I realize when it's just an acoustic bass or an electric bass by itself, it's pretty hard to pick out the tune, unless you're an actual bass player. Guitar tunes is kind of fairly simple to hear to pick out what you're hearing. Not always that simple with the bass. So I have picked up a couple of things that should help with that. We will talk about them on the show. We will feature them on the show. I decided to throw down a little bit of cash, not a whole lot, and got a MIDI controller, so I'm going to try to learn how to use that, and you'll get to see that as we do. But that way there can be some amount of music playing where you guys will get to hear the music along with the bass and the guitar that I'm playing. Try to get into some more looper usage this week. Ross really pointed out some things to me that kind of I never really considered it in that manner. In terms of using a looper in 3 to 5 second bursts, play 2 or 3 chords and get them correct and right on the loop and just play it, and then use those chords to kind of teach yourself some sort of improv. It hadn't really crossed my mind. I kind of had always thought about the looper in more of a 2 or 3 phrases strung together, 45 seconds, a minute worth of music. I hadn't really ever considered it as a teaching tool in that manner. So I'm gonna, I've got a couple of different options for loopers here. So I'm gonna get some of that on camera so you guys can see it. Apologies. Let me just break every television rule possible right now because I am, obviously a high quality professional. So here you go. Right on camera. Everybody dig it. Anyhow. So we're going to get into some of the loopers this week, and I'll get that on camera for everybody to check it out. So I have a newer one that was really low price. It's a nice entry-level unit, it seems like to me. We'll talk about that one. I have an older one that would have been a middle of the road when it was brand new, that Line 6 JM4 that you guys have heard me probably talk about before. And I also have a Jam Man. Pretty sure that's what it's called, little blue one, 2 pedals. Pretty sure it's a Jam Man. Might have a number involved, I don't remember. But they all involve some amount of looper. So I'm going to get into some of that this week, and we'll get that on film. Maybe, hopefully some of you guys will like it, and there'll be some people that are interested in that, Like those guys. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for coming and checking us out live. The live studio audience, guys, give them a round of applause. Yeah, we all love them. Thank you guys for coming in again. Anyhow, we'll get to some of the loopers, and I'll try to get some of that on camera this week. I'm going to try to get a live show going on Wednesday this week. It didn't happen a couple of days ago. Obviously, coming up, I'll make it happen. We'll make certain that it gets pushed, and I do it. I'll make myself do it. So on this one, probably we'll get into that Fender acoustic and do the pickup in it. So what I have is a Fishman pickup to replace a Fishman pickup in a Fender acoustic, electric acoustic, however you prefer to say it, acoustic, electric, acoustic, whatever, guitar. So I'll get that on film. Never done it. It'll be a new one. I had to do a little bit of work on the bass, the acoustic bass. You guys see me play this week. I had a little bit of stuff to do on that one. The input plug came loose and kind of fell up into the body. So I, got through that one without any trouble. It was the first time I really ever tried that. And once I figured out that indeed I can get my hand all the way to the bottom of the guitar, that was kind of my concern, my hand and my arm fit. So it does. If I can get it all the way to the bottom of that bass, the guitar is pretty much the same body. I should be able to reach all the way down and take care of that one too. So that's what is hopefully going to be the Wednesday show. We'll do that live on camera, that way while I screw it up, you guys can watch. So we'll give that a shot on Wednesday. I'll try to get some other stuff recorded and get it out, some guitar tunes I'll get out for you guys. Ross and I are going to start working on a pretty specific guitar song. It's one that I know pretty well. I've known it a long time, a lot of years. And so it's one of those, I think I want to try to learn how to play it and sing it. As I've come to realize, playing and singing at the same time is amazingly hard, wildly difficult. I can't do it. I am unable. I can make it once or twice. I can hit a word or two here and there, but I can't sing and play at the same time. And you've seen my playing ability, so you obviously have some clues to my singing abilities. Yeah, such is the world. I don't know. You guys over there, you in the audience, they were here and heard me warbling away, piping off, getting ready for the show. What'd you guys think? They loved it, apparently. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to learn how to play and sing. It's a pretty specific tune. Not making any promises as to when that's gonna make it to the channel. A month, 2 months, a week. I don't know, man. We'll see. So that's gonna be something to kind of look forward to and kind of refocus this week on the guitar. I don't know if frustrated is the correct word. So much as I've just been neglecting the guitar. I know I've been saying that, and it still continues to hold, and I need to change that. I know that I need to spend more time with my guitars if I'm ever going to improve, if I'm going to continue to improve. I'm sure perhaps I'm a little hard on myself in terms of my playing abilities and skills after, at the point I am in less than a year. But that year is the 1 year mark is slowly creeping up. I've obviously come a long way considering that when I first started, when I got that first SG, I didn't know anything, nothing, nothing at all. So I knew how to plug it in. I knew how to plug it in, and didn't know what the dots meant. Didn't know what the things on the fretboard meant, the inlays, any of that. Knew nothing at all. And hey, it's not like I'm a guitar player or a musician by any stretch at this point. I'm gonna keep working on it. Trying it out. But I think I've made some improvement. I'm pretty happy with my improvement, but I'm feeling that plateau that a lot of people talk about. I can definitely feel it, see it when I play. So we'll keep trying and seeing what's going on. Keep trying to make things better and improve the channel. Obviously, is on the list of things that need to be done. I need to get the lighting correct. I'd sure like to get these videos correct. I am turning down settings. I have ordered some cabling so I can get hardlined to the computer, and hopefully that'll help a whole lot. I did also get another like a little mixing board, like a podcast mixing board. I ordered a different one. Maybe I can figure out something to have that wired through and use the telephone, and maybe that'll make these a little more seamless until I get some computer software, hardware and software figured out, and get that more streamlined and working better. So, things are moving, things are going forward. It's nobody on the chat. 4 people have checked us out for about 4.5 minutes each. That's kind of cool. Thank you for the viewing. Thanks guys for checking us out. Obviously I don't script these. I'm certainly not that far along in the YouTube world to operate in such a manner, I guess. I don't have any sort of script going or anything like that. Here I am, that's the deal. So, that's the way it's going to be for a little while. Certainly some of these probably should be scripted. I think, I probably will work on that in the recorded videos. For these live ones, and until people start showing up in the chat and asking questions, just kind of talk about how the week went in terms of music. And like I said, it was a rough week. I wasn't really thrilled with how it turned out on multiple levels. Um, but this is one of those weeks where you realize that you really noticed it. The few minutes that I did get to play during the week, it wasn't very much, but I played a few minutes every day, 15, 20 minutes at least of bass every day, and it was extraordinarily calming, helpful, made things a little bit nicer, made some of the headaches kind of go away to some degree, if that makes sense. But it's one of those weeks where you realize that, man, this week would have been a whole lot harder to deal with had I not been able to pick up a bass or a guitar and use it and play it and gain some amount of time with a smile on my face and gain some enjoyment from the day. Let me break some more rules here. Anyhow, to gain some amount of enjoyment from the day, but and that's the thing about the channel. That's where the direction that I kind of want maybe at least the Friday night shows to go in. That maybe these are, and if I don't know, man, perhaps Friday night's not the night to do that. Maybe that's a Monday night show to do the slightly deeper parts, like where you get into maybe how music has made things so much better at sometimes here and there, like, because it does, it does. And this is just one of those weeks where I was really thankful to have started doing the music and started learning, started playing and trying to improve and having something to focus on. That's the real key in my mind with the music, is the focus that you kind of have to give to it. Those of you that are learning out there, you know what I'm talking about. You really, a lot of times, have to pay pretty close attention to what you're up to in order to get things correct. And, that focus, that zeroing in on something can help you push out some of that other crap from the week, which everybody needs. You need to wash that stuff out somehow. And for me, music has been one of those things that I probably could have washed out a lot of stuff for a lot of decades, but didn't know any better. Again, such is the world, man. That's life, man. You don't learn everything you need to know right off the jump. It'd be way too easy that way. And where would the fun be then? But so that's the tie-in this week in terms of life and music. Music was kind of the saving grace this week. I didn't get a whole lot of time. Like I said, I might have gotten an hour, 2 hours playing time all week. But they were extremely helpful minutes, however, a couple hundred minutes, whatever it was extremely helpful in terms of mind, soul, spirit, that sort of thing. And don't get me wrong, man. I'm not one to play with rune stones and know my sign. I know what I'm not into astrology or any of that sort of thing. I don't. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I ain't never put no effort into it. I don't really plan on putting a whole lot of effort into that one. But it is a spirit soothing thing. It helps your soul playing music. You equate it to whatever you want, but anyway. So that's the deep part of the show. Let's walk away from that. It's Friday night. We got better stuff to do. So, new stuff. new stuff for the channel. I swear to God, I thought I just heard the fire alarm beeping, but I don't know. We'll see what. Indeed they are. Well, I guess you guys are going to watch a blank screen for a minute. I'm at least going to go see what's happening. I really doubt that the dog has set the building on fire, but I better go check it out, I suppose, you know. Hang on, I'll be back. What'd you do, dog? Wow, isn't it, doggy dog? Alright, gang. Tragedy averted. House is not on fire. No idea. Anyway. So, back to the show. Back to the show. New stuff. So, like I said, I've got one thing on the way to add to the set design. And I got a little MIDI controller. So, that's going to be where we're going to start heading, you know, for all of you guys that are interested in it and checking us out for that kind of stuff. I'll cover it. We'll talk about it. Hang on one second. Let me snatch it up. Okay, so we'll go through it. We'll talk about it. We'll learn how to use it. You know, together. You can watch me learn how to use it. You can watch me try to learn how to make music. You know, not something I really ever tried before. Kind of like these videos. So anyway, we will be talking about an Akai Professional MPK Mini. This is the special edition red. If they'd have had it in Royals Blue, I'd have got it in Royals Blue, but they didn't offer it, so I got stuck with Cardinals Red. I mean, that in and of itself is wildly disappointing. So anyway, we'll go through this thing. We'll try to figure it out. You know, we'll get it wired up to the computer. That'll probably slow things down even more. I'm thinking that those videos and those episodes are probably for sure going to be done on the telephone, filmed with the telephone, without the mic, without that stuff, because I'm going to need the computer and the power to run the MIDI and the Focusrite if we're actually going to get something recorded for me to then try to play over for you guys here on the channel. So we'll learn how to, you know, we'll check it out. Here, let's just even show it on camera so we can all see it. This is what we're talking about. We'll go through it. We'll put it out, we'll put it up so everybody, so there we go. So everybody will be able to see it. We'll learn how to use it together. Anybody out there watching the show wants to let me know how, leave a comment. You can email us, High Desert Music Channel at gmail.com. That's all lowercase, all one word, High Desert Music Channel at gmail.com. Yeah, so if you've got some insight into these Akai professional MPK mini keyboard MIDI controllers, let me know. Maybe that'll smooth things out, help us out. But we're going to get into that. That way I can kind of add to the channel and, try to increase the quality of what I'm giving you guys, for those of you that do watch. And we're, certainly not going to give up. Certainly going to try to keep zeroing in on what people want to watch. But the live show on Fridays for sure is just probably, what I'd like to get to is enough people watching that maybe we got something going in the chat, where I can live chat with folks and answer some questions, or, hand out all the marginal advice that you want. So, understand up front, any advice that I give is marginal at best, and I'm okay with that. So you should know that, though, before you go asking for it, right, guys? Yeah, those guys agree. Those guys definitely agree. It's not to say that I haven't given out good advice to somebody here and there, but for the most part, it's marginal at best. But, hey, that's what you get on my channel. But I want to try to make the channel better. We're going to try to improve the quality of these shows, try to zero in on. Maybe we do start, trying to script a show so there's a set thing of how we do it. I don't know yet. I'm just trying to put it all together and keep it rolling, man, and get to enough people watching to be getting some input back from folks. Comments and hate mail and all that good stuff, so I can kind of zero in on what people want, and I gotta get these videos out in front of enough people to do that. Those will be some of the things we talk about. That's certainly something I'm gonna have to go through this week, is try to figure out how to get these videos labeled better, and just work on the channel like that. So that's kind of what the week's gonna have in store for me, at least in terms of the channel and stuff. We're gonna try to kick it up, make it a little nicer, make these videos a little more appealing, in the very least visually more appealing. And again, try to zero in on sound and video and stuff. I can't really see it live right now. I'm obviously a little tied up, a little busy. But hopefully they're working out a little better this week. And again, like I said, hopefully the new stuff that's on its way will help if I can get the computer to be a hard line. That should give me a little bit better of a show. Just maybe that'll, maybe that speeds up the internet, doesn't drop things out. So, I'm kind of watching things right now, and it doesn't seem like we're doing too bad, but it does seem like it's bouncing in and out, good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. So if we hardwire things, maybe we'll slow some of that down and keep it at a better quality. Yeah. Yeah. It was just one of those weeks, man, that was not thrilling, and not much practice happened. I did do some chord work this week with the guitar. I got the Martin out early in the week and went through my chord trainers, the musician chord trainers. Went through those 15, 18, 20 times, something like that, and just, again, practice chord changes. Played a few tunes. I did get, some amount of time playing bass, 3, 4, 5 songs every day. But there again is you kind of, I'm starting to see that rut yet again. I had a new group of songs a couple of weeks ago, and it's time to add some more. Sorry about that. That was kind of vicious, wasn't it? Nasty. So it's time to add some more tunes, and
Awesome!
yeah, there's that guy again. He agrees with that. I know. And it's not to say that I'm getting great at these tunes. Some of them I'm playing pretty well, kind of. Thanks. Yeah. Some of them are working out better than others, but we're gonna get there. But I want to play some different ones. I want to find some new songs to move into, and maybe see, to expand what's in my head and what's in my mind in terms of songs that I have played. This is kind of conversation I had with Ross tonight. Remembering bits and pieces. I don't really remember whole songs at this point. I'm not real adept at being able to play an entire song from memory. There's a couple of tunes I can play halfway, 2/3 maybe, on guitar or bass, either one. That's something I'd like to get to, as I've said before, and kind of drop this tied to musician that I am kind of thing. Trying to remember specific little parts of songs and 2 and 3 note phrases in terms of a bass, 3, 4, 5 notes in a row kind of phrases, and where they are on the neck and how they sound, and being able to add those in and work those into some of the improv work, and just noodling that I'm doing. It's getting more and more helpful. I'm getting a little better at that. Those things are coming, and I think it is from playing the same songs over and over, and it's from learning new songs. You hear new stuff, and then when you go try to play against one of these pedals or something, oh, these notes, I remember this little phrase, and I can do this and maybe do it in backwards order, to change it a little bit so it doesn't sound exactly like that other song, but it does sound a little more like it sounds correct, but it's my own thing. And that's why I want to get into the pedals this week and try to work with the loopers a little. And this other pedal that I got is like I said, it's a lower priced model. Let's go with that, right? Came off of a website. Anyways, it came off one of the ultra cheap apps out there that we all know. We've all seen the commercials for these. Not this pedal, but for the company. They have hundreds of commercials about all kinds of stuff they'll sell you for dirt cheap the first time around. So we're all on the same page, probably, as to who I'm talking about. Anyways, this guy, little pedal, so far I've played around with it for about an hour and a half. Haven't really used the looper ability on it yet. But it has some tunes in it. It has a lot of effects and things like that. The pedal's kind of cool. I kind of figured out the pedal and the wah. It's got a wah. There's a lot of different settings with the pedal. So this is one of the things that we'll try to get on film this week, and this is one of the new trinkets, tools, toys, whatever nomenclature you want to use. This is one of the new little toys that I'm going to use to try and help me progress in my playing while not playing along with YouTube. So for those of you who are unaware, and I totally understand if you are, there's no reason for you to be aware of this. So for the unaware and uninitiated, so to speak, And simply because I have yet to finalize and install all of the smell-o-vision equipment, the hound dog behind me has just laid one out that is insane. Insane. My eyeballs hurt. They're burning. As well as my throat is beginning to burn. Thank you, dog. The dog, Buddy the dog. Buddy the dog doesn't like being on camera. He is not into the camera. Kind of want to make him like the special show hound dog, the mascot of the channel, but he doesn't really like being on camera. Anyways, the dog has just let one loose, and it is unbelievable at this point. So I'm really thrilled at that, and I just cannot thank the hound dog enough. What else can you say? Yeah, exactly. What else can I say, dude? Those guys are now catching on to it over in the studio audience. It is wafted that way. So, hey, be thankful that you're not in the studio audience right now, because they're getting hammered. This is a pretty tightly sealed little enclave that I'm in, so this aroma, it's going to be here for a while. And I see some eyes watering over there in the front row. The green cloud's getting to them. You mix that in with the local wildfires, and boy howdy, it's just fantastic breathing in here right now. So anyhow, thank you again to the dog for throwing that one out at us. And sorry to you guys, the viewing audience, I did not have the smell-o-vision all fired up for tonight, because you should have been in on that one like I had to be. It was amazingly fantastic. All right. And it's continuing. Probably should not have given the dog those cheap taquitos. They're apparently not working out for me right now. Anyhow, given that, tell you what, gang, we're going to take like a 5-minute no commercial break, because here at the High Desert Music Channel, we have 0 sponsors. It's all me. So yeah, we're going to call this a non-commercial break. We'll give you some white screen, some fabulous white screen entertainment here. I'm going to step outside and kind of see if I can't get the dog to move along with me, and get him into another room so that perhaps we can continue the show. And while I'm at it, I'm going to coat my lungs with a fresh bunch of nicotine. And for all you youngsters out there, don't start smoking. It is a nasty, nasty, disgusting habit that I've been toting around for about 31 years. And, yeah, don't start. Just don't start. Anyhow, yeah, you gotta give me a couple minutes, guys. Boy, howdy. Yeah, hang on a couple minutes here, gang, and we'll be back, and we'll keep on rolling. Give me a few minutes to burn down the smoke and get this dog into another room. Good gravy, man. If you ain't ever hang around with a coonhound, then you probably don't understand. If you've had a coonhound or 3, you know that they are some of the fartinest dogs, and a lot of times they're just nasty. Yeah, because he's a coonhound. He'll eat anything that you put in front of him. Cheap, nasty taquitos and the rotten grass in the corner of the pond over there at the dog park. I ain't seen that old boy. I'll probably see that old boy tomorrow. For those of you curious, I'll probably see that old boy tomorrow. And I'll try to get you another dog park story. I know how everybody loves those things. That studio audience, once again, they're all about those dog park stories. They seem to like them. Anyhow, give me a couple minutes, guys. Let me get the dog out of here and try to air this out. I'll be back. At least, please, let me coat my lungs and nose with some nicotine. Maybe I'm fresh out of Vapo Rub to like jam up into your nostrils to knock it down. Couple minutes. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching, guys, here at the High Desert Music Channel. We're going to take a non-commercial break for just 4 or 5 minutes. I'll be back. Enjoy the bare wall. Come on, dog. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. That's a good boy. Handsome guy. Hi, handsome guy. Alright. That'll give you one. Sit. Alright. Alright. Back to the show. Let's hope that's done for. That was bad. Not interested in having that going on anymore. So, this week, we're going to get into the pedals. We're going to check some of that out. We'll get that on film for you. They're stuck in other places. I'm not going to dig them out right now. So anyway, two older loopers, and this kind of newer, cheaper one, and we'll get into that Akai. We'll start talking MIDI, how to use a MIDI controller. Have no clue how to do it, but there's a book in there. It seems like it comes with some software. Hopefully the software is relatively intuitive. So we're going to get into that this week. We're going to check that out, see what we can do. Yeah, we'll give it a shot, you know. Oh, dog's just kind of digging around at something over. I don't know what. Yeah, you're looking for more to eat because, you know, he's always hungry. What are you doing, dude? That's a little boy. Yeah. So, anyhow, the dog's just kind of hanging around in his little bed over there. Probably because we're not playing any music. The dog does not hang around when I turn the amps on. The dog does not like the amps. Granted, I play a little loud. Every chance I get, I play unreasonably loud. That's, you know, seems logical to me. We're gonna probably go deaf on one side, you know, the amp side. But hey, such is the world. I mean, the other side's going deaf from tractor engines and truck engines and stuff like that. And, you know, loud stereos in cars when I was a youngster. So anyways, it looks like we're down to nobody at the moment. We had a few viewers. Thanks for watching, guys. I really, honestly, truly appreciate anybody that comes by and checks out the video. No matter when you find it, you know, tomorrow, next month, next year, whatever. I'm just thankful that you watched it. And hopefully it'll lead you to subscribing to the channel, liking some of the videos, comment on the videos. Let us know what you think, good, bad, or otherwise. We want to hear it. So, yep, we'll see how this week goes. It can't be much worse than last week. So we'll get some more playing time in. We'll get some videos for you guys. I will do a whole lot better getting some videos up for you. Let's take a look, just out of curiosity. Nope, no chatters tonight. Nobody's out in the live stream chat checking us out. But you know, hey, we'll get there. People will start showing up eventually, I hope. That's what we're here for, you know, is to try to create a place for all of us to come and talk about learning. And hopefully that's kind of what the Friday night shows turn into, you know, is people in the chat and all of us old Gen Xers, basically, you know, for the most part, trying to learn how to play, and we talk about it, you know. That's kind of what I'd like to have going, is a place where, yeah, those of us that are maybe just a fuzz past middle age can hang around and talk about playing music and learning music and doing new stuff, you know, just doing new things, continuing to live and check out the world. And you know, that's the point of music in my eyes, I guess, is to keep you interested in life and the world and keep you going, keep you wanting to do something. That's why that's what I've gotten out of music, you know, just pure enjoyment and a desire to get better and play more. So that's what we're looking to create here, you know, a place where we can all come and talk about that, get in on the chats, you know, have some live chat back and forth between me and the viewers, and talk about how music is making the world better for us. Yep, that's what we want to do. So that's where we're gonna go. Like I said, this week we'll, you know, I'll try to get some gear stuff done this week and get them out. Maybe not all at once, but we'll get some gear stuff out and recorded this week. Some repair, you know, this Fender that I got over there needs, as I said, a new pickup. Might as well change the input, you know, little thingy while you're at it. The input jack, might as well change the whole guts, you know. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get that on film so you guys can check it out. A little bit of neck work. It needs to have the neck adjusted just a little bit. We'll do that. as well for those of you guys who don't know how to do it, so everybody can see. Little basic instrument maintenance that you know, if you can do it yourself, you might as well. You know, I would kind of always operate that way. I don't see much reason paying somebody to do it. If I can do it myself, I might as well try. If I get it completely wrong, well, then you pay somebody to fix your mistake, I suppose, right? But anyway, we'll go through it. I mean, it's not terribly hard, and we'll get that on film. Yeah, get some more covers on film. I'll try to get a lot more guitar this time. Try to get some more guitar tunes this week out for you guys, and try to get some chord practice on film. You know, maybe I'll just try to film a lot of my practice time this week. You know, leave the camera running and let her go, and turn it into videos and call them practice videos. Just maybe so people can see how, you know, the method that I practice, what I'm trying to pay attention to when I practice. You know, and I know I've talked about like the spider exercise. That's something I could definitely probably film for somebody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, doesn't know that exercise, or wants to watch how somebody else does it, you know. So we'll get into that. I will definitely start kind of upping my game in terms of the channel and getting better quality stuff out for you guys more often. Try to do, you know, like I said, the 3 live a week. Try to do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday live show for everybody. Kind of talk practice. Kind of talk practice and strategies and things like that, and humps that you're trying to overcome on Mondays, and make gear and gear reviews and gear repair and that sort of stuff, maintenance on Wednesdays. And then, you know, kind of do the Friday free-for-all sort of thing, you know, like the Ted Nugent song or something. So anyways, you know, that's kind of where I want to go with the channel. I'd like to get enough viewers to have some live chats here and be able to talk to each other about what we're going through learning, and again, how we're finding out that the world kind of meshes with the music, man, and how life wraps around the music, and how music wraps around your life, and how they make each other better. So, you know, we've been into it for a while tonight, almost an hour, huh? Gotten some views. I mean, I can't say hello to everybody out there watching right now. Thank you again for coming to check us out here at the High Desert Music Channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comment on the videos, good, bad, or otherwise. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So again, thanks for coming to check us out. Well, the dog seems to have lost his wind, so to speak. The air is clear, no green clouds, thankfully. You know, still some wildfire smoke in the air, but that's to be expected here on the edge of the high desert. Boy howdy, let me tell you what, for those of you here, around here on the edge of the high desert, that know where I am and know where we're coming to you from, it was a fantastic sunset. I mean, you know, sometimes the light smoke, it's not real thick right now, it's kind of been windy. But boy howdy, I got a good sunset tonight anyway. Nice cloud and smoke cover to kind of purple it up and make it beautiful. Just gorgeous. Why? One of the reasons you live here in vacation land, you know. I got no reason to go anywhere. That's why I live in vacation land. But you get these fantastic sunsets. I mean, it was like all them Western movies you ever watched with your dad or your granddad. You know, that's kind of the stuff we get to look at every day out here on the edge of the desert, and it's just fantastic. And yeah, the music wraps around with that too, just so darn well. Anyhow, I guess we're gonna give her up for the night. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Again, if there's something specific you want to see on the channel, let me know. Leave it in a comment on one of the videos. You can give us an email, send us an email, High Desert Music Channel at gmail.com. That's all lowercase, all one word, High Desert Music Channel at gmail.com. So yeah, you got something specific that you want to talk about. If you have information as to proper usage of a MIDI controller, that would be helpful. If you have good ideas on my lighting and getting that a little more correct, great, love to hear it. Stage design, set design, love to hear it. Yeah. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys coming, stopping by and checking us out. Pass it along to somebody, some crazy freak like me that is trying to do something new with their world and expand things and bring smiles to themselves and whoever hangs around with them. So yep, thanks for watching. Share the channel, share the show, like the videos, comment on the videos, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. I'm doing it to help other folks try and learn and get better at what's going on. And anyways, really appreciate you guys coming by. Thank you so much. Have a real good evening, and we'll catch up to you, pretty soon. I'll be putting some other videos up, and another live show coming at you Monday night, and try to get some more crappy covers out to you this weekend. Thank you so much for watching the High Desert Music Channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the videos, good, bad, or otherwise, we want to hear it. Thank you so much, guys. Alright, dude, nope, I'll stay on for you, brother. You missed me last week, man, so we can roll. Yeah, we'll keep on going, man. So, hey. I'm wondering if the stream is so screwed up that he came in at the spot where I went outside because of the dog. I wouldn't be surprised. So, let me, I'm obviously not very adept at running a TV show here since I'm, having trouble, since I'm having a little trouble keeping up with everything. Yeah, I can dig it, dude, on that intro. I'm guessing, are you playing a guitar or are you playing a bass? That makes a difference. I've never actually tried to play that tune on a guitar. I obviously have done it on the bass because you guys have heard that. So anyway, thanks for showing up, man. That's awesome. Right on. Hey, cool. And if this is better for you guys, if 9:30 is better than 8:30, let me know. If you guys want me to hold the show for a little later, that's cool, man. I got no issues with that. If my crazy enormous fan base that I have is into the 9:30 show instead of an 8:30 show, that's completely fine. Just remember, the 9:30 show is completely different from the 7:30 show. Anybody name that movie? Can anybody name that movie? Anybody? So anyways, okay. Battle Rattle is trying to learn Dead or Alive on a guitar, which I have not tried to do yet. Be real honest with you, I looked at it once on Musician and was slightly intimidated by what I saw. So I can totally dig it that you're sidetracked trying to learn a new tune, man. That's awesome that you're learning something, trying to pick up something new. It's a great tune, Uh, who doesn't like Wanted Dead or Alive, man? I mean, come on, it's Bon Jovi for crying out loud. I mean, hey, man, for those old heads like me, there was a time when those were the coolest guys out there. Bon Jovi, dude, they were like the biggest thing ever with the tight jeans and the acid wash and the cowboy boots, man, and the hair and the leather. Yeah. Yeah, in the 7th grade in nowhere, Missouri, Bon Jovi was just insane. I remember my sister. This is how old I am. All right, my sister, she's a fuzz older than I am, and I'm pretty old. For those of you who haven't caught on yet, I am pretty damn old. Right? I can dig it. About your brain and the fretboard not mixing. I can dig it. I have that problem a lot too, dude. Let me finish this one right quick. I'll come right back at you. My sister, I'm old, Dirt and I went to elementary school together. Anyhow, my sister's a fuzz older than I am, and I remember her playing the 33. Now, I don't really want to all right, there you go. So anyhow, 33. If you don't know what a 33 is, do you know? Okay. There used to be these things called records, right? They were round, they were big round records, and put them on a record player. Anyways, I can remember my sister listening to that stuff. Slippery When Wet was the name of that album. I can remember that getting spun in my sister's room over and over again on her turntable. Spinning the hits, man, back in the day. You know what? Let me tell you a story about my sister. My sister one time, I remember, and another girl whom I don't remember who it was. But anyhow, I remember one time my sister and this other girl called up the local AM/FM there in Nowhere, Missouri, where we growed up, and won some sort of a contest. I don't even remember what the contest was. But anyhow, they won, and the prize was 4 or 5, 6 albums, 33s, pressed, cut, whatever, pressed, I guess. Anyhow, a stack of 33s that covered the entire top 40 hit show that night, commercials and all. Young Guns. Yeah, there you go. All right, so Young Guns, that's 89-ish. I was, that would have put me in about the 7th grade. But yeah, I'm with you, dude. So I don't know who you are, Battle Rattle. I'm glad you're on the channel. I'm glad you're checking us out. Thank you for being here. But yeah, I'm guessing you're probably about the age of my sister. Maybe. Young Guns. If you were high school, young. No, wait a minute. It's My Life was high school. I was a bit older than that, I guess. Anyways, I remember thinking that, boy, howdy, my sister's somebody special. She won all these albums, man. Check it out. Yeah. Talking about albums and 33s. I'll tell you another story. You want to hear another story? I'll save that one for another show. If it told me who the concurrent viewers were, I might tell the story. Anyhow, you know what? Here we go. So, I one time rode my bicycle to the local Walmart and got myself, okay, all right, so you're a shade younger than I am. Yeah, not much. Rode my bicycle to I'm 49, by the way, so, yeah, a shade older than you, not much. Anyhow, at this point in the world, it's about the same, isn't it, dude? Anyhow, rode my bicycle to the local Walmart there in Nowhere, Missouri. And I bought myself a copy of Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. We all remember that one, right? You've heard my amazingly fantastic cover of I Wanna Rock from that album, right? So anyhow, rode my bicycle to Walmart, went and bought that album on 33. Managed to make it home on my Huffy bicycle back to the house in Nowhere, Missouri from the Walmart with the album. Hightailed it to my room to put it on my fabulous little turntable. Played it a couple times, you know. Thought it was fantastic. My mother was not thrilled. She was not happy with a man wearing makeup and the whole Dee Snider thing and the bone, and I had to take the album back to Walmart on my bicycle in Nowhere, Missouri, and then ride my bicycle back home. So there you go. See, and this is kind of what I'm talking about, man, when you realize how much music has been involved in your life. Now, there's something that happened to me. I don't know, was I 8, 9 years old, you know? Stay Hungry, that album had to have been early 80s, 83, 84. So, anyhow, yeah, and now I like playing that song, and every time I play it, I remember that, obviously. And it's just funny how music wraps itself around you when you're a tiny little kid, and 40 years later, you learn how to play an instrument. You're like, man, I just can't stop thinking about that now. Yeah, and I remember when Interstate Love Song was on repeat in my car. At that point, I was in high school. I had this little 2-door car with a giant stereo in it, you know, 2 tins in the back seat and a trunk, and had a 1,000-watt amplifier pushing those 2 tins, and it was stupid how loud it was. It was just ridiculous. Louder than the stuff I play now, but yeah, that STP CD, man, that was one of the good ones, you know. That was a good one. Listen to the shit out of that too, you know. Pumpkins, yeah, listened to the Pumpkins quite a bit back then. I listened to a lot of stuff. Pretty much all my life I've listened to a lot of stuff, but yeah, and that's why you hear a lot of 80s tunes on here, because those are the tunes of my childhood, man. So, you know, I like playing those. We try to play them a lot, and yeah, I remember the good old days of, boy howdy. What else was going on, man? Helmet. Everybody remembers Helmet. Meantime, that was on repeat in my high school car for a long time. I always thought that was just the coolest thing ever, you know, that you would have some crazy hardcore band like that who came out on stage in like khakis and a you know, 2-button polo. There you go. Yeah, totally. Yeah. See, and something like that, man, everybody gets to hear your music. I had mine in the trunk. It was of a Beamer, so it did, you know, the sound barely made it out of the trunk, because the trunk in a Beamer back then, the mid '80s Beamer, was a solid metal box, and so I pulled the speakers out of the back deck. That was the only way the sound was getting through the holes. All right, dude. We're gonna have to have a talk off the air. I don't know how I feel about a rabid and raging Jewel fan on the channel. That man. The next thing you're gonna tell me is that you think the Detroit Tigers are okay, something like that. I mean, good gravy. I don't know, dude. I don't want to go around judging my viewers and all, but not everybody gets it right the first time. Go Royals. So, all right. Well, anyhow, yeah, that Jewel. I remember Jewel. Everybody does. Well, most folks my age probably remember Jewel. It was great. It was fine. I'm not gonna say it was ever on repeat. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much music back then, man, and a lot of it just kind of vanished over you. One that I remember from way back then, maybe some of you guys know, will remember these guys. Any of you guys remember Ween? W-E-E-N? Ween? Hey, studio audience over here, they remember those guys. Dean and Gene and Mean Ween, Alanis. Well, you know what? Since you've brought her up, if we're going to deal with Alanis, the music is fine. I'm okay with Jagged Little Pill. Canadians in general, I'm all right with. Somehow, Sheryl Crow. That was all right. I went to college with a guy that was actually instructed by her in music as a kid. She was his childhood music teacher. Guy was from St. Louis. 12 golden country grades. I could tell you 12 golden country grades, and most of them come out of Merle Haggard's mouth. Anyhow, Christ, I totally lost where I was. I'm watching a video on the computer here in front of me, and it's like 20 minutes behind. So hopefully my videos aren't quite that shitty. Yes, exactly. Yep. Bananas and Blow was one of mine. Piss Up a Rope's a great song, don't get me wrong. Bananas and Blow was one of my favorites from Ween. Voodoo Lady. That's the first Ween song that I ever remember hearing, Voodoo Lady. I worked at this bar down in Spring Funky, Missouri. You ever been to Springfield, Missouri? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I remember Piss Up a Rope. I remember it. It was the one after that, Chocolate and Cheese. Chocolate and Cheese was the first Ween album that I really got turned on to. Piss Up a Rope. I listened to it a couple of times. I don't even quite honestly remember any of the individual tunes off of it. Chocolate and Cheese was the first one I had, and then the second one, it was white. It had like a pepper on the front, and it was kind of white, black and white, like a drawing. That's the one that had Bananas and Blow. That was a great tune, Bananas and Blow. Stuck in my cabana with Bananas and Blow. At least at the time it sounded pretty good. I mean, back in those days. Voodoo Lady, yeah, it was the first Ween tune that I ever heard. As an interesting band. Good tunes, though, Sheryl Crow, Alanis. Again, Alanis. Let's roll back to Alanis. I'm sorry, dude. You just hammered me. And as I'm not a professional, it's a little bit harder to keep up with the flow of the super chats here. So, anyways, Alanis. The music's fine. Canadians are fine. I got no issues with Canadians. They generally seem to be kind of funny most of the time. Studio audience agrees with that one about the Canadians. But Alanis, if we're really going to talk Alanis, man, then we got to talk about Dogma. That's, in my mind, where Alanis just shines. The little silver dress. And, yeah, it's a great movie. And Alanis kind of made the ending there. Great touch. And good tunes, good music. Jagged Little Pill was a big one. If we want to talk girls in the music world, I was kind of more like a Liz Phair. If you remember Liz Phair, I liked a lot of her tunes. And I've listened to a few more since then. She's got a couple that are, pretty right up front. about the whole meaning of the tune. And they're good tunes, you know. She plays pretty good music. Yeah, that was kind of high school for me too. Was some of that college, I guess. Bush. Yeah, we all remember Bush. Oh, oldies like me remember Bush. I mean, Christ, that stuff's probably on the classic rock station these days, isn't it? You know, I mean, I haven't listened to a radio. God's honest truth, man. I haven't turned on an actual radio, AM, FM type of radio for years. I'm a Spotify guy. That's one of the few things that I'm willing. That's the only one of the two apps, pretty much, that I'm willing to pay for. Spotify and Musician. Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see where that would work. I mean, she did have a good band behind her. But hey, man, you know, all those girls, they were good. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not against female musicians. I think they play good music, but yeah. I'm not going to lie, dude. I've turned up an Alanis tune way too loud once or twice. But that was on the highway where nobody could really hear it. You know, there's some sort of a decorum that a guy must conduct himself with. And if you're going to listen to Alanis at ridiculously high volumes and you're not Vince Vaughn or whichever one of the, was it Owen that he was in that movie? Anyways. If you're not a wedding, you know, if you're not in that movie, oh god, yeah, what was the name of that movie? Anybody, you know, where they go work for Google, the internship. So, I mean, if you're not one of those two guys, if you're not Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn in the internship, you don't play Alanis at super high volumes in traffic and at stoplights. You play it on the interstate. See, that way nobody hears it. And if you do pass somebody with the windows open and they hear the Alanis, they can't necessarily nail it down to you. It may very well be that car next to you. Isn't it ironic? There you go, brother. Nailed that one on the head. Good timing. So, you know, I'll keep you in mind, dude. At some point, we're going to need a sidekick on the show. We'll get you on. You can chime in once in a while. I mean, that's probably better than a silly box, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. But it probably would be better than a goofy little box to have a real person here who has something to say. Studio audience agrees with that one. So anyhow, yeah, you play the Alanis, you play the Sheryl Crow, you play that stuff at high volume on the interstate, you know, and when it's just you. That way, not only do the other people not necessarily hear that you're cranking to the really, really good stuff at super high volumes, because, you know, you are, let's be honest. You're cranking out the really good tunes at those high volumes when you're talking Sheryl Crow and Alanis. You know, obviously some of the best stuff ever recorded. And again, while you're doing that at high volume, at high speed on the interstate, you can also warble at high volumes and nobody can hear it, you know. Sometimes it can be dangerous to let loose in traffic like that at a stoplight in a convertible. Again, unless you're Vince Vaughn or Owen Wilson, at that point it would work for you, obviously. If you're not one of those two, you probably don't really want to be shouting out Alanis at the top of your lungs in a gold Sebring convertible at a stoplight. You know, hey, stick to Metallica tunes. Now, if you're singing Metallica tunes at full tilt, probably nobody going to say nothing. You know, but yeah, that's that. At least those are, again, all the viewers out there should realize and understand my advice is marginal at best, and you know, that's kind of how that one's going to go. So. Anyway, give about 47 seconds here, gang. All you viewers out there, talk amongst each other in the chat. I'm going to go load up on some coffee right quick. You know, you know what? Yeah, I'll wait a little bit. I'm still kind of curious as to what's going on with the video, because the video that I'm seeing is like from 20 minutes ago, man. I don't know what's quite going on. But again, where we were talking decorum in music, and you know, how and when is it? You know, of course, certainly, there is a time and a place for hollering out tunes at the top of your lungs. You know, anybody out there ever like known big music stars? Met the big music stars? You know, one time, here's a good story. Years and years ago, down in Spring Funky, Missouri, I was going to tell something about Spring Funky and Ween. Anyway, down in Spring Funky, one time, I had a job, and I delivered uncooked bread dough all over southwest Missouri, Springfield, Branson, Joplin. And so one night I was in the Branson store, rolling in my cages of bread. Now these are 1.5 feet, 20 inches by 20 inches, 20 by 24, something like that, you know, with trays of uncooked bread, dough, bagels and stuff. This is for St. Louis Bread Company, back before it was Panera, when it was still St. Louis Bread Company. It really didn't hardly reach outside of Missouri. Anyway, rolled into the Branson store one night, and yeah, I could buy that. I could totally buy that. There's stories from the large box retailer with super famous people in the big cities. Absolutely. So I'm in Branson delivering bread dough one night. I roll into the store with my cages, and you know, holy good gravy, look at that. Roll in with my first cage. I look at the manager of the store and say, "Hey man, you know who that is out there?" And she looks at me and says, "You mean that scruffy looking old dude?" Now, at this point I'm only 18. Okay, I'm stupid. Not that I'm any brighter now, but I was pretty stupid when I was 18. But even at 18, I'm thinking to myself, lady, how in the hell are you living in Branson and don't understand that that's Merle Haggard? He's the only person in the store eating a bread bowl of cheese soup, and it's Merle Haggard. And she didn't realize that. I said, "That's Merle Haggard," you know. And she's like, "Oh, okay." Again, what are you doing in Branson if you don't know who Merle Haggard is? I mean, this is in the 90s, man, you know. Anyhow, I rolled out to get my next cage of bread, and as I walked past him, I stopped, and I said, "Mr. Haggard, you make some fucking good music, brother." And he stood up. He's a little short dude. He stood up, and he shook my hand. He said, "Thank you." And he sat back down and went to eat, and that was pretty cool. I come home that night, I remember. I lived in this apartment, little tiny apartment. It was kind of like an alley, like a galley apartment, you know, this straight line. And it was way late night when I get home, you know, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning when I get done working. And I come cruising in the door. My girlfriend, she turned into my wife. Anyhow, my girlfriend was asleep, and I come kicking in the door of that apartment. "Baby, wake up, wake up, wake up." And she, you know, she's barely alive, barely, you know, cognizant of what's going on. What? And I said, "You'll never guess, I just met Merle Haggard." I shook Merle Haggard's hand. And she looked at me and said, "Who's Merle Haggard?" Oh, my God. And I was, you know, you had to question things at that point. I mean, "Who is Merle Haggard?" she said to me. And, you know, ultimately, that didn't quite work out. Of course, that was all my fault because I'm a moron. Bad decisions everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, I met Merle Haggard once. I know a couple of people right now, currently, that are, you know, one of them well, I don't know anymore about either one. A guy I went to high school with turned into a relatively, well-known musician. He was in a band called the Get Up Kids. They were kind of had a thing going. They were kind of big for a while. His name is James DeWeese. Went to high school with that guy. He played keyboards for My Chemical Romance on tour for a while. Boy, how he won. I watched that guy when we were kids in high school. Rearrange the Brady Bunch into almost classical avant-garde kind of piano piece in a talent show in high school, and he just beat the snot out of every other kid that went up there. That dude in high school could play like 6,000 instruments. Just insane. And yeah, made a life out of it, made a life out of being a professional musician. No idea if I could ever get a hold of him again or try to get him on the show. Who knows? Be cool if we could, to get maybe a phone interview or a quick little interview with a guy who spent his whole life as a musician. And it'd kind of, it'd be kind of cool to talk to old Deweese. I haven't talked to that guy in years. Dude gave me a haircut one time. Okay, let's tell another story about how music wraps up into your life and you don't realize it until 3 decades late, more than 3 decades later. Anyhow, old James DeWeese cuts my hair one day on his back porch, and his mother comes out, and she says, "James, what are you doing?" And he's got the clippers in his hand, this crazy look on his face, and he says, "We're shaving heads." And anyway, he gives me this terrible, like, mushroom top head haircut. It was horrid. But, it was 16, 17, whatever, I was 17, 17-year-old high school kid. I thought it was fantastic. And Deweese was cool. I thought he was one of the coolest kids ever, and I was just not on his level in terms of cool and having life figured out. Yeah. Anyhow, turns out, I didn't know at the time, but it turned out it was family picture day, and so I went home with that horrible haircut. My sister, who I was talking about earlier, was sitting there at the kitchen table, and she didn't think much of it. My dad didn't really say anything. I don't know that Daddy really noticed, to be quite honest, that it was a horrid, terrible haircut. I don't know for sure, but anyhow, my mother and my sister come home. My sister sat down next to me when she come in the house before my mother, and then my mother come in the door, and she was not happy with the haircut because it was family picture day, and it was not something that you wanted to have your child's picture taken with. And there's my story about James DeWeese and how he interacted with my life for a few years. So anyways, there's an actual, semi-famous person in the music world that I've met and had some interesting times with, done some crazy shit. Jeez Louise. I was in a 3/4-ton pickup truck. I was in a 3/4-ton pickup truck one time. I wasn't driving, I was in the passenger seat, and there's a dude in the middle. And we were jacking around with some of our buddies, and they were in like a Ford Festiva. I'm almost positive it was a Festiva. You gotta be an old head and remember those. But anyhow, I'm pretty sure it was a Ford Festiva. And they stopped at a stoplight, and the old boy driving that 3/4-ton GMC hammered on the brakes, and we hit the back of that car. They were friends of ours, and it wasn't hard because it didn't break the wind out or nothing. But old Deweese was in the back seat. I remember him rolling up on the glass. Boom, 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 when we hit that thing. And I don't know, we went to some restaurant right after that. I want to say maybe it was Winstead's. And that was back in the day when you could smoke. And we went in there because they let us smoke. And, yeah. Boy, howdy, I remember a lot of those names. Probably not going to say them on camera. Haven't talked to any of those guys in 30 years since high school. another thing that me and Deweese did. So yeah. Another buddy of mine that I used to know years ago who actually tried to get me to get into guitar is pretty deep in the music business. I'm pretty sure he probably still is. Last I had heard, and this is, only a year and a half, 2 years ago, he was a tour manager for Florence and the Machine, a guy named Corby Anderson. Was a good friend of mine back in the 90s, one of the first people I met when I came out here to the Wild Wild West from nowhere, Missouri, and found my way, into the Intermountain West, and was a good buddy of mine, turned me on to Cake. That's the guy that turned me on to the band Cake. If you guys remember Cake, Going the Distance. Yeah, I'm sure you guys, some of you out there know who Cake is. Anyway, Corby was the guy that turned me on to Cake, and he is, as far as I know, still a huge force in the music world, or some amount of a force in the music world. It'd be kind of cool, if we could eventually get those guys to give us a phone interview or give us a video interview. If we could figure out how to get that done, it'd be cool to get somebody like that on the show. Probably gonna have to maybe up the viewership a little bit. So, speaking of upping the viewership, like the show, like the channel, like the show, subscribe to the channel. There you go. I'm gonna get those transposed. Share the show with any crazy nutcases like me that want to try to talk about and learn about music. Like the episodes, like the episodes, like the videos. Comment on the videos, good, bad, otherwise we sure want to hear it, no matter what it is. We want to hear it, and hopefully we get some viewers, and maybe we can get some of these guys to come in and give us an interview. I definitely think that's something I kind of want to get into with the channel. Just talk to other guys who are far better musicians than me and get kind of their perspective on how they learned and how they got to where they are. So we're going to try to sucker some of the guys from the guitar store in. Get some of you guys to come by one Friday night, jump on the show, maybe Monday night show, maybe we do one somewhere else, whatever. We're going to try to, as I've said before, get another friend of mine that plays saxophone in the orchestra here in town. Try to get her on camera and talk about on the show, talk about how music is working out for her and how she got to it. Because I think there's a lot of people that might want to hear that. Might want to know how people got to it. What were the circumstances that drew you in? What kind of funny, crazy stories can you remember about songs that you play now and how they interacted with your world 20, 30 years ago? And tell more stupid stories, and just try to keep having some fun. Ray Wylie Hubbard. I've heard a couple of Ray Wylie Hubbard tunes. I cannot say that I cannot say that I'd be able to pick that out on the radio if it was playing in front of me. I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to do that. I know I've heard a couple of them. Heard his name in other tunes. I heard other artists. Charlie Robinson. Any viewers? Charlie Robinson. Ringing any bells? He passed away a couple of years ago. He was a Texas guy. Made a lot of good tunes, man. I liked his music. Definitely. Haven't seen any of it that I am where I'm trying to learn. But yeah, that was good stuff. He was a good musician. So, alright guys, you know what? At an hour and a half into it, I'm starting to get hungry. Not gonna lie to you, nicotine levels are dropping. Some of the other things in my blood are starting to drop away that need to be recharged. Smoky treats abound for me in the next few minutes. And again, guys, thank you so much for coming to check us out. I really appreciate everybody coming to watch. Pass this one along to anybody you know that wants to see something stupid. Anybody that wants to talk about learning music. Anybody that wants to watch some fool like me, try to think of stuff to talk about and keep people interested for hours on end. Um, I really do appreciate you guys coming out. Anything you have to say to us, let us know in the comments. Good, bad, or otherwise, we want to hear it. If you want to email it to me, I'd sure be glad to read them. It is High Desert Music Channel at gmail.com. That's all lowercase, all one word. High Desert Music Channel at gmail.com. Send us an email. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to talk about. You got a specific song you want to hear, let me know. I'll try to learn it. You want some mediocre advice? Ask away, man. You want it on air, I'll give it to you on air. You want it in an email, I'll give it to you in an email. Hey. Understand that stuff is marginal at best, as I've said. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope the rest of your Friday night is, hopefully pretty good, and you have a great weekend. We'll try to get you some more crappy covers out this in the next couple of days, and get wound up for next week, and try to do a little better with the live shows next week. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a really good evening. Sure appreciate you coming by and checking us out. Oh, tearing the shit up, man. Tearing the shit up. Hi, handsome. You're a good boy. You are daddy's favorite guy. You're my favorite guy. Still going, huh?